Have you ever wondered what led to the extinction of Earth's largest ape, Gigantopithecus? This question has puzzled scientists and researchers for years, and today, we're about to delve into the mystery surrounding the disappearance of this colossal primate. Gigantopithecus, the grandest primate to have ever graced our planet, was an awe-inspiring creature. Standing at a height of up to 10 feet and weighing up to half a ton, it was indeed a sight to behold. These giants roamed the Earth around 9 million to 100,000 years ago, primarily in what is now Southeast Asia. They led a life that was as mysterious as their sudden disappearance. For years, the commonly held belief was that Gigantopithecus went extinct around 100,000 years ago. Climate change was often cited as the primary cause, as the cooling conditions during the Pleistocene epoch were thought to have made survival difficult for these gigantic apes. However, recent studies have challenged this narrative in a rather intriguing way. Cutting-edge research now suggests that these behemoth apes might have vanished from the face of the Earth around 200,000 years ago, a staggering 100,000 years earlier than what was previously believed. This new finding has turned the tables on the long-held assumptions about the extinction of Gigantopithecus, casting serious doubts on the role of climate change as the main culprit. The implications of this discovery are significant. If the climate change that marked the Pleistocene epoch was not the reason behind the disappearance of Gigantopithecus, then what was? This question opens up a whole new realm of possibilities and theories, pushing us to reconsider what we thought we knew about the life and extinction of these towering creatures. So if the climate change wasn't the main reason, what led to the demise of this gigantic creature? Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the mystery surrounding the extinction of Gigantopithecus, Earth's largest ape. Before we delve into the causes, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer size and power of the Gigantopithecus. This mammoth creature was a sight to behold, standing at a staggering height of almost 10 feet tall. That's right, 10 feet. Picture a professional basketball player, and then add a few more feet to that. That's how tall we're talking. And weighing in at around half a ton, the Gigantopithecus was certainly not a lightweight. But what's really fascinating about this enormous primate is that despite its imposing size, it was a gentle giant. Yes, you heard it right. The Gigantopithecus was a herbivore, relying primarily on a diet of bamboo, much like the modern-day panda. Can you imagine that? A creature as powerful as Gigantopithecus munching away on bamboo shoots all day long. Scientists even believe that it had a unique jaw and tooth structure that allowed it to crush and consume hard bamboo. Now you might be thinking, with such size and strength, who would dare to mess with Gigantopithecus? And you wouldn't be wrong in thinking so. After all, it was the largest ape that ever roamed the Earth, but size isn't everything. In fact, it was this very size that made it difficult for the Gigantopithecus to adapt to changes in its environment. The sheer bulk of this creature meant that it needed a massive amount of food to sustain itself. And when its primary food source, bamboo, was scarce, it struggled to find enough sustenance. The Gigantopithecus was not designed for speed or agility, making it difficult to hunt or forage for other types of food. Despite its size and strength, Gigantopithecus was not invincible. Quite the contrary, it was its size that may have contributed to its downfall. Now, let's turn our attention to the real cause of the Gigantopithecus's extinction. Recent studies have shaken up the scientific community by suggesting a paradigm shift in our understanding of why the Earth's largest ape went extinct. Contrary to the long-held belief that climate change was the primary cause, these studies suggest that the Gigantopithecus's extinction was largely due to its lack of adaptability. The Gigantopithecus was a creature of enormous size, towering over every other primate species. However, its immense size, while impressive, might have been a double-edged sword. The larger an animal is, the more food it requires to sustain itself. The Gigantopithecus was no exception. Its diet was highly specialized, relying heavily on a specific type of bamboo that was abundant in its natural habitat. However, as environments changed and food sources shifted, this dietary specialization may have become a critical disadvantage. With its preferred food becoming less abundant, the Gigantopithecus would have struggled to find enough to eat. Its large size, which once might have been an advantage, now made it harder for it to adapt to new food sources. Moreover, its size may have also made it less agile, less able to traverse changing terrains, and less capable of fleeing from predators or competing for resources. In a rapidly changing world, the Gigantopithecus found itself ill-equipped to adapt. We must remember that evolution is not a linear path towards bigger and stronger creatures. It is instead a complex dance between an organism and its environment. The most successful species are not necessarily the largest or the strongest, but those that can best adapt to their changing surroundings. These new revelations about the Gigantopithecus's extinction underscore the importance of adaptability in the face of environmental changes. They serve as a stark reminder that being the largest or the strongest is not always a guarantee of survival. So, while climate change may have played a role, it was the Gigantopithecus's inability to adapt that was its ultimate downfall. The extinction of the Gigantopithecus offers important lessons for us today. With the passage of time, we've come to understand the factors that led to their demise, and it's our responsibility to heed these warnings from the past. Just as the Gigantopithecus, many of today's species face threats that could lead to their extinction. These threats often involve changes in their natural habitats, whether due to climate change, human activity, or other factors. For the Gigantopithecus, it was a combination of climate change and their inability to adapt that led to their extinction. This brings us to the crucial point of adaptability. In the face of environmental changes, the ability to adapt becomes a matter of survival. The Gigantopithecus, for instance, had evolved to be a specialist, adapted to a very specific environment and way of life. When their environment changed, they were unable to adapt, and thus, their survival was threatened. This is a common pattern we see in nature. Species that are highly specialized often struggle when conditions change. They may excel in their specific niche, but should that niche disappear or alter significantly, they are left vulnerable. In contrast, species that are more adaptable, that can survive and thrive in a variety of conditions, are often more resilient in the face of change. In the same vein, many of today's species are facing threats due to their over-specialization. As habitats are lost or altered due to climate change or human activity, these species are finding it difficult to adapt, and their numbers are dwindling. This is a stark reminder of the fate of the Gigantopithecus and a warning that we need to take heed of. So, what can we do? We can start by recognizing the importance of biodiversity and the role each species plays in their respective ecosystems. We can strive to protect natural habitats and limit the impacts of climate change. And perhaps most importantly, we can learn from the past, from the story of the Gigantopithecus, and work to ensure that history does not repeat itself. The Gigantopithecus's story is a stark reminder of the consequences of failing to adapt to changing circumstances. To conclude, the Gigantopithecus's extinction was not a result of climate change alone. We've journeyed through the mysteries surrounding the disappearance of Earth's largest ape. We've unraveled its existence, pondered over its physical characteristics, and dissected its dietary habits. We've delved into the recent findings that have revamped our understanding of its extinction, shifting the timeline a staggering 100,000 years earlier than previously believed. The Gigantopithecus, a grand creature indeed, was not just a simple victim of a cooling climate, as was once thought. Instead, its demise was a complex interplay of factors, a dance of destiny where the music was composed by nature, but the steps were largely its own. Standing at a height of about 10 feet and weighing up to 600 kilograms, the Gigantopithecus was a veritable titan among apes. Its towering physique, however, was not enough to shield it from the relentless march of time and change. The ape's dietary habits, a preference for bamboo, was a significant factor in its downfall. The shrinking of bamboo forests, coupled with the Gigantopithecus's inability to adapt to a changing diet, set the stage for its eventual extinction. But the tale of the Gigantopithecus is not just about a prehistoric creature's fall from grace. It's a tale that resonates with us today, echoing through the millennia. It's a tale of adaptability, or rather, the lack thereof. It's a tale of the dangers of relying too heavily on a single resource, a warning against putting all our eggs in one basket, so to speak. In the face of environmental changes, flexibility and adaptability are key to survival. The Gigantopithecus, with its reliance on bamboo, was unable to adapt and ultimately paid the price. It's a poignant lesson, one that we, as custodians of this planet, should heed. The tale of Gigantopithecus serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of adaptability and the dangers of failing to respond to environmental changes. It's a lesson we should all take to heart.